The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Wait a minute.
Welcome.
We got a mic that's not working. Did it get turned off?
Oh, there we go. Welcome aboard, everybody. It's December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, and you are on the Crown Car Care Radio Hour.
Yes.
It's a show we do every week, sponsored by Crown Car Care, 2 locations in Martin County, one off Cove Road and one in Palm City. And the way we always do our shows is we start with the news.
Yes, we do.
And we have some good news today.
We do.
We also have lots of bad. Well, there's always bad news in the world, but we try to give you the good news.
Right. And of course, today is the day before Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Yeah. I was up in New York over the weekend.
Yes, you were.
And we'll talk about that a little bit. It was a fun trip. I saw lots of cars.
Planes and boats.
I'll tell you, darn near every car in New York City has a ding in it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, yeah.
And you hardly can go the speed limit. You go about 5 miles an hour.
Yep.
It takes you hours to go across city blocks.
My Ford Focus. I actually drove through New York City.
You did?
Yes.
Potholes a many.
Well, but I tell you what, that's just about the right size car for that environment.
And it's safe up there. I'll talk about that too. Real safe.
Yeah,
so how about some news? Any good news out there in the world with the automotive?
Rivian scores $1.3 billion investment from T. Rowe Price and others.
Now, Rivian is
That's a
as we predicted, I think it's going to be the big play in electric cars.
It's an
and
EV
trucks.
startup. They got $500 million from Ford.
And now they've got $1.3 billion.
Right.
And I believe that the F-150 electric pickup truck that's going to be, I think, offered at the end of, sometime this year it's closely related, I believe, to the Rivian pickup. I think this is going to be the big play going mainstream.
There's going to be there's a lot of cross technology.
The Model T Ford of the electric cars is coming. Yeah. And I believe Rivian is going to be that play. I do believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's a mainstream real deal. It's not boutique-y. It's not, I don't know how they're going to be. Is it going to be franchise dealers? I don't know. I suspect. So the funding round is in the 4th year for the electric vehicle startup, including existing investors such as Amazon and Ford. The latest investment round also includes BlackRock Incorporated. So we have a lot of deep pockets pushing money into this program.
Right. So the 4th round of investors. So they're pretty serious.
And what I like about Rivian is we don't, not that I love Tesla and I love Elon because he's such a trendsetter and he's
plowing
disrupted so much current technology into the future and given us new things. But Rivian is one of those, as you would think that for a company to become mainstream and really something available to everybody, you can't have a maverick CEO. I don't think you can do it that way. And this is one of these plug and chug companies that's been silently behind the scenes, except for the news, of course, that you read. And if you follow it, you'll know about it. But they've been doing it and building it. And it's not something that we have to watch the CEO's P's and Q's on and that crazy disruptive social media thing that we have going on with Tesla.
Right. The laser lights and all that fancy gear. None of that. Yeah.
You don't have a Cybertruck with a braking windshield, which, by the way, is a fabulous vehicle. And I want one. So.
It is very cool. It is very cool.
Here's an interesting report. I'll read it. It's about a company called EVgo.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
And one of the things that we've talked about is the distribution network of electricity for these electric cars.
Yeah.
And you have to have, for it ever to become a mainstream viable option for the average person, you have to have a charging station that can do it quick. It has to charge fast.
Right.
And these are, I'll read it to you, announced that EVgo has announced that has extended its leadership as the nation's largest public fast charging, and the key is fast charging network, saving serving electric vehicle drivers by increasing its California network by 40% from year-end 2018. Currently, more than 80% of Californians live within a 15-minute drive of one of the 300 EVgo fast charging stations across the state. EV develops and owns and operates fast charging stations to serve EV drivers, fleets, and trucks with the highest reliability in the industry and consistently earns the highest customer satisfaction. To date, EVgo in 2019 has opened more than 100 new fast chargers throughout California and expects to open 200 more by year-end 2019. Wow. So that's big. That's like gas stations opening. As you know,
right.
The world goes round and round, not with the cars on the road, but the gas stations, the Wawas of the world, the Mobil Oil, the racetracks. Right. That's really the...
And you and I grew up with Standard Oil.
Standard Oil,
remember
Amic
those?
Oil. Standard Oil was a company that was broken up because of the trust bust. You know, they had a monopoly, and it turned into Amoco, Standard Oil. Mm-hmm. You've got Chevron, Exxon. Mm-hmm. Well, hello. We have a special guest today. We have Mr. David Deakins from Deakins-Guests Insurance, and the highlight of our show today is going to be we're going to be talking about David's fabulous, if you've lived in Martin County, I'm sure you've all heard of the fabulous Christmas display on Rocky Point. Mm-hmm. We have a special guest today. Mr. Deakins is going to be talking about his built it himself. He's been doing it for years, and we're going to get all the history of it and what he's done. I've driven by the place several times, and I'm going to tell you it's a sight and show to be seen.
Nice.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and Happy Hanukkah also. And welcome.
I've heard you're a Gator fan for football.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's why I had to throw that in.
Okay. No, I think there's just a cane over here.
Yeah.
we got a special caller all the way from the North Pole here on the line.
Wow. Bring on that caller.
Come on. Hello, Santa.
Well, hello there, Frankie and Todd. How are you this evening?
Oh, well, fabulous.
We are great. We are so excited to hear from you because we know you must be insanely busy right now getting all the last minute preparations for your big trip.
Oh, my goodness. It's really pretty hectic up here right now. Just had to have a little sit down with Rudolph. Yeah. Somebody played Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Oh, no.
He thinks that's an affront on his guiding skills.
Poor Rudolph. That's great.
How's your sled doing? And I understand you've been running a little bit low on that methane gas.
Well, we've been feeding all of the reindeer beans and corn today.
Oh.
We're going to try to get them geared up really good for the ride.
Yeah, that's great.
We might have a few little timing things that we might have to change. Depends upon exactly how they discharge, if you know what I mean.
Well, you've got your work cut out for you, and I'm sure all your elves have been working overtime, and you've been paying them double, triple time to get these gifts all together.
Well, you know, we don't really pay them all that well, but we don't talk about that in public.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Beans.
But they get plenty of candy canes, and that keeps them very happy.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great. That's marvelous. So any special stories you want to share with us, Santa?
Well, mostly I wanted to tell you that tonight we're going to start out in the South Pacific. I like to get a good head start and go all the way as far as I can, get everybody in good shape running in the sled, and then we work our way back home. And that always makes it a lot easier. Just be sure that you leave us out lots of goodies for the elves and for the reindeer to eat. And remember, Santa can get into a locked liquor cabinet.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, thanks for that heads up, Santa. We sure appreciate it.
Well, you guys have a really good Christmas. You've been very good boys this year, and I'm really happy for all of the people in Martin County that help us so well.
Well, thank you very much. And you too. And I know you'll be making quite a few trips back to the North Pole to load up with gifts. I hope you'll get the gifts I've asked for.
Well, there was that one little incident in September, Todd.
Oh, no. You know about it.
Yep.
I know everything, Todd. I'm Santa Claus.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, you enjoy your holiday, gentlemen, and spread the love. tell everyone in Martin County that they're all my favorites.
Thank you, Santa.
All right.
All righty. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, is right. Well, that's great.
As you know, through the past, month, we've been having Santa call on a weekly basis, giving us a heads up on how he's doing.
Yeah, there he goes.
I can hear his jingle bells going.
Yeah, he's heading out even as we speak. So that's
one
great.
thing I learned was that that sled of his is methane powered.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
I did watch the Santa Claus the other night, so
Oh, yeah.
I understand.
That's great.
So to give you a little background, Mr. Deakins, who's with us, has a fabulous insurance agency here in the Treasure Coast. How long have you been in business?
We have actually been in business 45 years this year. 45 years this year. Dad started the business back in 1974. We are a family-run business here in Martin County. To give you a quick example, my mother, even though 100% owner, is treasurer and accountant. My wife is vice president. My sister is vice president. I am president of Deakins-Guests.
Fabulous.
My son is working in the commercial department and has been there, I would say, I think 10 years, if not more. My brother-in-law is the life and health department.
Fabulous.
And my niece is now working in our commercial department also. So a beautiful family. And I not only thank them for what they do, but also all my other employees that are with us every day. Thank you.
And your location is beautiful. As you're heading into Hobe Sound in the south part of the store on US 1 on the right-hand side, you just have a most beautiful building. And if I'm not mistaken, you have a big bell or something out in the front.
We sure do. That is something that my father bought when he moved away from Rocky Point.
Okay.
Back in the early 90s and built a house back out at Naked Lady Ranch.
Oh.
He decided that he wanted that bell. He found it. He saw the eagle on top of it, which we are all very much into the eagles
Yes, sir.
as far as that kind of goes. But my father was an Eagle Scout.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather was an Eagle Scout.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I was the black sheep of the family, and I dropped out before I became an Eagle Scout.
I found out before the show that you're a hurricane through and through.
100%. Played 4 years for Coach Snellenberger in the University of Miami. Some of the greatest years of my life. Made some incredible friends, met some incredible people, and truly the people that I thank, other than my parents getting me there at that time, but truly my head football coach here at Martin County High School, Fred Chase, and another gentleman, our offensive line coach, Bud Beeks. They are the sole reason, other than the good Lord giving me a talent to try to get there, that I ended up with the University of Miami.
Well, you do have wanted to say also, my son, Max, who both of you have met before, his dream is to play basketball for the Miami Hurricanes.
Wow.
That's the college and school he wants to go to, and he is so excited, and he's looking forward to getting a scholarship to play there. So,
well, due to the fact that Miami can't turn around without going on to sanctions, and I'm a booster, I don't even want to know your son.
I was just had to plug it out there for a little bit. Whenever I hear people that are interconnected, I got to say something.
I can give a good word, though, to other people.
Well, thank you. And my lovely wife, Tamara, came in, and she's welcome aboard.
Hello.
And she brought a wonderful picture, and I'm sure we'll hold it up here to the camera.
Well, the picture does not do what we saw justice, really. It's hard to see in the picture how amazing this light display is.
It is. I'm going to say this. I've been by there several times, and I have seen many Christmas displays. But David, the symmetry you have, it's all in order, so to speak. It's what I know you well, and I know you from a business group that we belong to, and everything about you is always organized and put in place, and I would expect that from someone in the insurance business, and you've done it with your lights.
Well, that's, people get on to me for that, actually. They say things. But I look at it and I think coming to a close, I don't know if much longer we will be doing this.
Oh, no.
we're not getting younger. I know that.
I know that.
When people have come and said, well, don't worry about it, just go hire somebody. And I said, well, what's the difference if I'm working in the tree or if I'm sitting in the chair watching them work in the tree? Because I'm still going to be there to have it done. It's a personal touch. I think from my side that I want it done in a specific way.
And it is done
Everybody
upright.
can
Let me
do
tell
it,
you.
just like you can. So when did you start doing your light displays?
I would say probably at an early stage around 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which is very funny. Is I think Todd and I were talking at our
Christmas party.
And I told him that I had built a house on Bayshore Terrace on Rocky Point.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go see this thing, please take the time and go see it. It is so worth it. It's easy to get to. Bayshore Terrace. Just put it on your maps. He's at the very end. Actually, you don't need an address. You need the light beacon will get you there. Yes. Believe me, it's unbelievable.
But my wife Donna and I built a house on part of Bayshore Terrace, not where we're at now. And I started lights probably at that point in time. I think that was about 1985. Very simple. Do the fascia. The next year, I think I did the fascia and then reddened the peaks of the roof. And we did a couple other things at that house, kind of dressed it up nicely. And then we moved to a house on Glen Ridge that my parents had built when I originally moved here. I had a house on Glen Ridge, or let me say this. I had a tree at the house that we lived on Glen Ridge. I can't actually describe because I don't know the name of the type of tree, but everybody asked me what that tree was, and I can't exactly explain how I responded to that, but it's a big tree.
Yeah.
And I put 10,000 lights in that tree.
I can't even comprehend that.
Neither could my wife.
Wow. So that was the start.
That was the beginning of getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
Between the tree that was absolutely incredible, and this is before LED, so you could only plug 4 strands of lights into each other. If not, they blew.
Yeah, the science of it. You were explaining to me.
There's always that big gap in between where you like, and that's kind of hard to work with too.
Well, funny thing that with that tree, I would say this is probably about late 80s, early 90s. Was funny is I had gotten up into the tree, and as you mentioned that I like things being equal.
It's organized.
Well, I'm doing this tree, and the branches were probably 18 to 20 inches in diameter, big branches on this tree. And it had hard bark and it had soft areas. So I figured that I would take a nail to make sure those lines are equal all the way around.
Right.
And when I couldn't get the staple in, I would nail in and wrap that wire around, and I can keep that easy thing going all the way through. So when you have 10,000 lights up separated by 4 apiece, you kind of keep checking on things, making sure that everything's still burning.
Yeah.
So I had certain things on, and I was putting up another light, reached across the branch, and all of a sudden got lit up.
Oh no.
And about came out of the tree. And,
oh my goodness.
And I'm like, okay, where in the world did that just come from? Because I got a dash of electricity that talked to me. But being the person that I am,
you kept going.
Keep going.
I couldn't figure out what it was, so let's try this again.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh no.
Brave.
And I got hit.
Wait, there's more.
No,
wait,
yes, there was more. I got hit underneath my armpit, and the staple gun ended up on the ground. I about came off the ladder because it had me. It had me dancing a little bit up there in the tree, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Finally, I realized that I had so much juice pulling through this tree that when I had wrapped the Christmas light line around the nail, I had electrified the nails.
Wow.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's what was
the tree was juiced.
It surely was. And that's what was
Wow.
electrocuting me every time I reached over.
Oh, that's funny. And of course, I'm going to suspect you changed a few things. You went to plastic nails.
More careful.
There you go. Wow. Well, this is such an elegant display of lights that you have. It's so beautiful. And so how many lights currently do you have on your house with this beautiful display? I mean, it's so perfect. And you did it all yourself.
I did 100%. Well, no, I take that back. My son-in-law, Matt, did do the net lights on the little wall that was out front. And I thank you, Matt, for that. But other than that, yes, 100% me on that side. I would say there we are probably very, very close to, if not 50,000, maybe a tad over.
Wow.
I mean, go back.
This is as beautiful as
this
is more beautiful than a lot of the displays we saw in New York City in front of Saks Fifth Avenue, which was beautiful.
Let me chase back because I love technology, and my show is always about how cars work and the science behind it. The old school light bulbs, the ones that were the incandescents. You mentioned something to me that only 3 can plug into each other. 4. So
4.
that your extension cord situation, you've got stock and extension cord companies, or
used to. Dollar Store actually sold 15-foot extension.
Wow.
Not
anymore, right?
Indoor extension cords. I have learned that those indoor extension cords work very well outdoors also.
Oh, good. Now the question is I can remember the days when I was a boy and we'd have the incandescent and one bulb would burn out and the whole string would go out. Did you ever run into that, and how did you solve that conundrum?
I did, and when I was young, I made sure that I checked every bulb again after it was out. In today's world, I throw it away.
Interesting, because the price point and everything, it's changed, hasn't it? I can remember that we would have the same Christmas tree lights years and years, and it was always my job to make sure that the bulbs work. And we used the ones that were those bigger. They're almost the size of a fig or a small piece of fruit, or a third of a banana. And they were the bigger bulbs.
That's what they call the C9s.
Oh.
And they still have the C9s today within the LED world. C7s, C6s, C3s. They have all kinds of things in the LED world. Back then, with the ceramic bulbs, they actually came in ceramic, but when we were younger, they were actually more glass bulbs, I would think.
Yeah, the glass bulbs, I remember.
I remember the glass ones. Some of them actually had liquid in them.
Yes.
And I can remember doing the
bubble lights.
Yes.
And I can remember doing our light strings outside. We lived in a town called Libertyville up in northern Illinois. And the bulbs would have a little rubber gasket on them when I would screw it into the socket. So for the snow, a little rubber grommet. So interesting. And I can remember if it was a heavy snowstorm or it would rain and the lights run, you'd get bulbs that would just break from the cold water hitting the hot bulb. They would shatter.
Oh, yes.
And then you'd have to get, now remember, you'd have live electricity then. So you have to remember to unplug that little rascal or else you could have an issue.
Or no nails.
Or no nails.
No, it's funny because the house on Glen Ridge,
that was your first house that you did it on.
That was the second house.
Second house. The one with the big tree.
That's when I started getting a tad crazy. I do believe with this stuff. But always trying to be artistic. I never thought I had an artistic bone in my body, but I guess somewhere along the line, I figured it out, some of it anyway. But going from there, those were all the old style bulbs, no LED. We moved to the new house on Bayshore.
Yes, sir.
And slowly but surely, I have moved over to all LED. There's no incandescent lights back on it. But it kind of crazy. The first year that I did move into that house, I used all those huge C9s, old-fashioned bulbs, and little C7s, old-fashioned bulbs. And the December light bill came in.
And you were like, I got sell more insurance.
Much more. It came down to, I think, the December bill, which is the easiest of 3 months bill. Yes. When you do Christmas lighting. I think it was about $800, $900 over and above normal.
Oh, no. And on that note, let's take a break and we'll come back and then we'll start right back up with David Deakins from Deakins-Guests Insurance.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town. Santa! Oh, my God! Santa here? I know him.
Fabulous. That's from Elf.
Yes. My favorite Christmas movie.
I'm gonna switch this around a little bit. Okay. All right.
We were just talking on break, and if anyone knows me, and most people do on the radio, they know that I'm interested in the small details that nobody looks at. Mm-hmm. And my question to David of Deakins-Guests Insurance, who we have as a special guest today, if you're just joining us, he has the most brilliant, wonderful, and I will say organized with designed intent. He is just his placement of his lights. If you want to see the best lighting display here in Martin County, you need to go to Bayshore Terrace. It's on Rocky Point. Easy to get to. You can find it. Just go on Google. Everyone knows about it. It is a world famous display. He's been doing it since 1985. And welcome back, David. And we're just so glad to have you on our show. It is just a delight to have someone with the passion that you have. And I know it translates into your business as well. He has Deakins-Guests Insurance. If you're looking for any type of, whether it be business insurance, automotive insurance, life insurance, it's a family-run business. It's been that way for years. Everyone in his family is involved, and the ethics, the sincerity, the honesty, and the deliver of his products is just A1. And I can tell you, he's in a business group of mine. Frank and I are both in a business organization, one of the oldest in Martin County, and he is a proud member of it. And I've just been delighted, and he's a customer of Crown Car Care. So I have worked on his vehicles, and it's a delight to have him on our show. And if you are just joining us again, he played football for the Miami Hurricanes for 4 years while you were in college. Yeah.
79 to 82.
Wow.
Missed a national championship by, but we don't need to go into all that.
What position did you play?
I was a wide receiver.
Oh, really? So you were fast.
And luckily, the cool thing, I wasn't the guys that you see from the Miami Hurricanes with their national championships and their NFL status and all that, and fantastic for all of them coming from our great university. But when you don't play a lot, but you still appreciate what was given to you while you were there. I didn't play a lot, but Coach Snellenberger always believed that I was the guy that could run any route. So he made sure I had to go show him even after a 4-hour practice. I'm like, well, the guy that doesn't ever play and you want him to show you the routes? But, great experience. You can't appreciate it enough for what he did for me and how things.
And I'm sure it enriched your college life, and it really made a mark in your whole life and business career as well.
It did, and I was talking to somebody earlier today, and this idea of paying college players of their likeliness or this or that. And I was going through what I actually probably in that day and age of what I was paid by the University of Miami in the the scholarship alone probably gave me a $200-some thousand payment to go to the University of Miami. And then,
so you had a scholarship?
Yes, I was 4-year scholarship, full ride.
Congratulations! I mean, that's a huge. That's great.
Well, thank you.
I mean, that's big,
especially for a 5'7" guy that weighed about 150.
No,
pounds.
So it's so great to hear success stories like that. I went to the University of Illinois, the Fighting Illini is where I went to college, and I paid for my schooling. Half of it, my parents paid for the other half. It was just part of our arrangements that we did, and I can remember the football players there, and I was always so jealous of all the sports guys. Always got a free ride, and that's great. I mean,
and that's one of the things we were talking about is when you talk about a free ride, yes, it is fantastic. Mom and dad can put their money away, do other things with it. They're not worrying about you.
But you earned it. That's the magic of it. You got
it's
that.
Not a free ride.
It wasn't a free ride. You earned it. Every nickel that you got, you paid for it in high school by good grades and sporting, and just when you get a scholarship, it's not just because you're good at sports. You have to be an overall well-rounded individual.
Very correct, and that's what I was coming back to is the fact of just the amount of money that those 4 years that cost the normal student that walks into that door. It costs the same thing for me as an athlete walking in that door also. And in that price tag, and then they feed me 3 times a day. They put me in an apartment. They, we flew around the country, probably,
wow. That's right.
6-7 times.
I didn't think about how you traveled around. You got to really, and of course you had to hold your academic grades. I'm sure you were getting up early and working late above and beyond to carry the grades and the education. You did double duty by playing sports.
Well, if any of the people that actually know me are listening to the radio today, I cannot tell a lie. It is Christmas time. I did not get up early to study.
Okay.
I did not stay up late to study.
Yeah.
But somehow I still passed my classes.
Yeah, well, remember, good people have the hand of God behind them, and that's called divine intervention. The
Very
providence
true.
of God.
Very true.
And it's just wonderful to have you on our show. And I was going to go back to the question.
We could have a whole show about playing football.
Yeah, I just and David, I never. I hear you in your business and our business meetings when you're always jesting with different people about the sporting teams. And I had no idea that you played for the Miami Hurricanes. I had no idea. I learned it right before the show. Frank told me, and the story goes like this. Frank, if you don't know, if you ever need anything framed, Frank does the most wonderful job of framing. He has a custom framing talent, skill set business that's second to none. He framed some special Michael Jordan gold trading cards that were very valuable, and he did it for my son for his last year's Christmas gift. And Frank had told me that he framed a jersey of yours.
He actually framed two, and I can vouch for his work. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's other things that I would like to bring to him. It's just when I get back to them. But yeah, fantastic work, Frank.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just never knew. There's so many things about people that are doing their job in life, and they're humble and they're honest and they just do a good job at everything they do. We find out tidbits throughout our relationship with people, all the great things they've done in the past. And that's just something that just delighted me today to hear that you were a 4-year college football player. I had no idea. And I'm, I was honored to have you as a guest here for your lights. And I'm as equally spellbound with your academia and your sports ability. It's fabulous. I've never really spoke with someone that played football at that level for 4 years. And it's just a big deal for me to be in your presence. And it's just a great thing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So back to lights.
The lights.
So,
Christmas lights.
When you saw the LEDs, now I'm going to tell you, I'm familiar with LEDs because cars have made that transition to LEDs.
Yep.
And I can remember in the infancy days of LEDs, we had the issues of the lights would start flickering, the ballasts would go bad because you do need some type of ballast to provide I believe, steady current for these LEDs. You made the transition to LEDs. Did you have some issues at all in the beginning when you made that transition to LEDs? Like, how about this? When one bulb burns out on an LED, does the whole string go?
Normally, no.
Normally.
It goes back to the old saying is what you buy. Are we going to put money into what we buy, or are we going to go for the lowest bid and try to see if it works?
Well, that's how I run my repair business as well, and you're a customer of mine. We've done quite a bit of work on your vehicles. We've tuned them up. We've done hub bearings, and I can tell you that for my world, quality is everything, not only in the craftsmanship, but in the things that we put on with our craftsmanship. And this is what you're getting at with the bulbs.
Very true. When, for example, when the LEDs started coming out, you weren't going to Walmart to buy LED. You weren't necessarily actually going to Home Depot or Lowe's to buy LED. You're going to specialty companies buying them off of the.
And I think you had mentioned to me that there was some specialty companies that I believe you said a name at our Christmas
lights, etc.
There you go.
Bring your wallet.
Sell insurance.
No, what the difference is, for example, you can go to Walmart in today's world and you can buy 100 LED lights, blue, red, white, green, multicolor, whatever they might be. And I think they were $5.98 100. Sometimes they work better than the expensive ones.
Interesting. Isn't that interesting how technology, as it marches and it becomes mainstream, but the TVs are the same way. You can buy TVs now at Walmart that are, sometimes the cheapest ones are the best quality.
But then you go to the
high-end
Walmart. Hope that doesn't get me in trouble, Walmart.
No. We speak about all the way.
I put enough money into Walmart.
Honest and
Christmas time. But what I'm saying is there's a certain brand that it's incredible. You have 240 lights that are attached. Well, 240 lights, you're only doing one strand instead of doing 3 strands to get 240 lights.
So you say the economies of scale with length come into play too with LEDs.
But then somewhere along the line, it has a gremlin. It can be most of the time it's in the middle of those 240. Brand new lights, they go out.
Oh, no.
Now, when I first started putting LED onto the house, because I figured based on my first year in the new house that I'm in now, my last year, I think my FPL bill was $1,500 more than normal.
Wow.
That's when I said LED.
Okay. So economy from an economic standpoint, getting a new inventory of lights. If you look at the cost you were giving the good old Florida Power and Light, it was almost paying for itself in savings.
Correct. The problem was again, when we moved, and I would say this is probably, I tried to knock out the ceramic bulbs in probably about 204.
Okay.
And I started moving over to the LED. And the only place you could find LED, like I said, is on these specialty stores.
Right. And they're proud of them.
Just so we understand each other, is in today's world, Walmart, 100 lights, $5.98.
Wow.
Christmas lights, etc. 70 lights, $23.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's 4 times the price. Yeah, it's 400%.
And 30 less lights.
30 less lights.
Now your lights on this display are very tight together. I mean,
how do you do that?
I'm curious how many, like, for instance, like on your palm tree, because I have never put lights on outside, and I would have no clue how many lights I would need to make my tree look as beautiful as that. So how many lights would you say, like just a palm tree like that?
The small palm trees in there probably are only carrying, even though I've learned how to actually show you more lighting.
I was going to ask you that. That's my next question.
Right. I've finally figured out how to show you a little bit more lighting with actually placing the bulbs more to the visual than actually the run of the tree, which is something I came up with this year. Show the street. Don't worry about
what you see.
Right.
And so
from years of experience.
Yeah, I noticed on the palm fronds, it looks almost double.
So
like almost a double light on each one.
So, for example, the palm trees that are inside, the bigger palm trees that are inside, they're probably holding maybe 500, 600 lights.
Okay.
Probably about 5-6 strands of hundreds. When you come out to the Royal Poinciana, which for those that can't see it, you're talking about a red, blue, and green Royal Poinciana with a little over 6,000 lights in it. When you come to just the south of that Royal Poinciana, and I have a 13 stalk, I call it Rubellini.
I love that.
It's not, I can't ever remember the name of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sitting with a little over 5,000 lights in it.
Wow.
So just in that one area is a little over 11,000 lights.
Wow. So when did you start?
Let's take a break. Let's hold everyone's thought. And let's take a break real quick. All right. We'll be right back.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that Todd's camera takes such great pictures?
There you go. A little bit music background from Home Alone.
Yeah.
A little magical Christmas
makes you
sound.
It gives you that deeper, you reach down into that part of Christmas that makes you think about stuff, and that really brings out the feeling.
Yeah, there you go.
It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Oh, by the way, hi, Mom. I know you're listening. Merry Christmas.
Hello.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
So, continue on.
Okay, so we were talking about the lights. So I am curious, did you plan this whole display prior to doing it?
Yes, I want to know this.
Do you like?
Did
Did you plan these colors? How you did it? It's so elegant looking, and it's perfectly balanced. Like when you look at it, it's very pleasing to the eye.
I could have never done this. Just the balance
right.
level is huge.
And like how you said that you didn't know you had
Yeah,
this artistic ability, but it's really an artistic, like to be able to, it could.
Yeah, it's very pleasing. I urge every one of you listening.
So did you plan it? How long did it take you to get all this? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, what's your prep? When do you start thinking about this?
June.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Okay, I'll give you July maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So when people come into your neighborhood, are there directional signs say go this way to David's house?
No, you just look for the glow.
Just look
Just the glow.
As I always tell them, you don't need to know the address.
You can't miss it.
You got the road. Soon as you come past the first the south side of the house is actually very incredible as you're coming up to the house.
The trick is hug the water line where the marinas and all the boat builders are, and you'll come up. Eventually, you'll wrap around a corner and you'll be going up out towards the ocean. And his road is Bayshore Terrace, and you see the glow from there.
Wow!
But to go back to your question, and in what happens, actually, this is kind of funny because my wife. She has girls' night usually once a week, and all the girls come over and they do whatever they do. And I go out and I will put on a Jimmy Buffett concert in my truck and grab a cold beer and sit out and start staring at very dark trees. And this is about June, July when I start doing this. And I know that sounds crazy. People are saying, how in the world are you thinking about it then? Well, because the coloring or the thought process, when I walked out there, I already knew the colors that I wanted because I haven't done them since when I was on Glen Ridge, and I wanted to go back to these colors. And so I put it together, and as you go, you do try to even it out. You try to balance it.
Yeah, there is just a wonderful symmetry, and it's pleasing to the eye.
The red, if you do come by or what y'all are looking at, if you see the red is cupping everything out front right now. Well, that was to keep the red coming off of the roof into the look of it dropping down into the rest of it working this way. But looking at the trees, and I start doing that and I've told my neighbors, you don't have to call the truck with the white jacket. I'm good. I'm getting all these things together. But the craziest thing, I'll throw a shout out. I don't know why, but my good friends Dave and Russell that know absolutely zero. Well, Russell, I know you know a little bit about hanging Christmas lights. Yeah. They decided, why are you putting all those solid colors together? Why don't you throw them all, kind of put them together and dance with them and this, that? And I started laughing. I'm like, get out of here. But when they left, I looked at them. I'm like, you know what? They might have a point there. So I actually incorporated some of their thought process, which is scary.
And it works. It works beautifully. It looks.
And if you look carefully, please everyone go by and see this. It's just, you'll be doing a disservice to yourself if you don't go see it. It puts a smile on your face a mile, ear to ear. But look at the placement of the lights.
Okay, so you started that thought process in June, and you plan it. Did you have it? Are you like an architect and you have it all planned out, or is
it all in your head?
It's in your head, or
this was the first year that I actually wrote it down of the colors I wanted, because I wanted to be very specific in how I was putting them in and trying to match the, again, green, then the blue, then the red that normally I don't do.
Then I'm going to ask you this. Is this your best display ever?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, we're honored to have you on here because this is you've topped everything, and we have you live as a guest.
When
what a
did
pleasure.
You start putting the lights on? When do you start doing this, and how long does it take?
Started on Halloween week.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So
and I guess all your neighbors know when Halloween is approaching because there's David out there.
Well, I will say this is the about 10 years ago, and I hope I have enough time to finish up with this story anyway.
Yeah, we got about 3 minutes left.
About 10 years ago, I'd always told my wife that when I felt like this became a job, I'd quit doing it because this is supposed to be not only for my joy, but for everybody else's joy also. And it was Halloween night, probably the 1 out of 4 times that we've actually been at home for Halloween. The kids had gotten older. They were out, so we actually stayed home that year. And I told her, I said, I'm done. I'm not doing Christmas lights this year. She's like, really? What do you mean? I said, I don't have the mental thought. If you don't have the mental thought, you don't actually have the energy to do it because it's too much work.
That is correct.
So about that time, knock on the door. 8 kids, about 10, 11, 12 years old, come up, which are a little older for trick-or-treating. I threw them the trick-or-treating thing out. If you don't say trick-or-treat, you get no candy, period. Lead kid looks at me. Again, 11, 12 years old. You don't expect this. Kid looks at me. He says, guys, you have got to come to this house on Christmas. This is the most beautiful house you will ever see on Christmas.
Oh, wow. So that just...
I bet your heart just grew 7 times.
My family makes a whole night of this surrounded about coming by your house for your Christmas lights. To me, he didn't know it, but I was fixing to choke him out. Because 30 seconds before I'm not doing this, I closed the door. My wife looked at, she says, what are you going to do now? I said, I guess I'm going up to open up the bins.
That is such a great story.
I was going to ask you a
wonderful.
touching story that you've had.
That gave me the chills.
Yep, I got a tear in my eye. That's really a good story. Do you have anyone ever stop? You'll be like getting out of your car and people will drive by and just stop. And have you met people because of this? Has anything enriched your life?
On your door?
Yeah, anyone knock on your door?
Well, I get notes all the time left in the mailbox.
Isn't that nice?
2 years ago or 3 years ago, and I don't know who you are, but thank you very much for the beautiful Christmas tree rock that you painted me. That was left in the middle of my island. Thank you very much. And the people across the Manatee Pocket from my house, they brought me homemade chocolate syrup. For my ice cream. So yes, but in the long run, even though I think I am coming down to an end of closing it down somewhat, the kids and the people that come by my house every year and are waiting, even at Halloween, right after Halloween, what have you done? What are you doing?
Yeah.
The kids, Merry Christmas and this and that. That is why I keep doing it, because of the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Santa. And I guess my own internal spirit for the love of Christmas and all the ones that come by.
Oh, that is so wonderful.
Can we count on you for next year?
The backyard is going to look very beautiful.
Oh, fabulous. Well, it has been a special delight to have you as a special guest here on my Christmas show. And if anyone out there looking for some insurance, please. He does as good a job as insurance as he does with these lights. You want him on your team. Deakins Carroll Insurance right there on US 1 heading into Homestown on the right side. You can't miss it. Please give David a call. What a fabulous man. What a fabulous business. Fabulous football player. Bravo. 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 Thank you again.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.